Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Scared Shitless. This is a horror retrospective, the show where we dissect horror media like we're psychotic cousins looking for fame. That is a spoiler warning. This week, we are going to be looking at the Scream franchise as a whole, running from 1996 through to, well, currently, as it is not yet finished. So, Ghostface Killer phones people, uses very meta. Uses it's hard to summarize the entire franchise. Do either of you think you can? Jamie, let's hear your summary of the franchise, having just watched Scream for the first time.
Putting me on the spot here.
I am indeed, yeah.
Summarizing the Scream franchise. How about stab, 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 laugh, laugh, laugh.
That's not a bad summary, actually. What do you think, Al? Have you got a similar summary?
A very attractive woman in a small town has basically a queue of people over 15 years trying to murder her and all of her friends and anyone she's ever known.
And the people in the movies about her. So,
yeah, she's got to be just about the most hated woman in America, apparently.
She really inspires killers.
There's an inordinate number of people who want to murder her.
So for the four movies released in 96, 97, 2000, and 2011, they all were directed by Wes Craven. 1, 2, and 4 were written by Kevin Williamson. Number 3 was written by some Freddy Krueger sounding motherfucker.
Krueger.
Continue. Yes, and they all star Neve Campbell, David Arquette, and Courtney Cox as Sidney Prescott, Dewey Riley, and Gail Weathers, respectively. And yeah, I feel the both of your summaries were pretty accurate for the franchise as a whole. Everyone wants to kill Sidney, but none do, because Sidney Prescott is a badass. Now, as we somewhat touched on our previous episode where we discussed Scream 4, if you have not watched that episode, go and watch it. And you also go and watch our videos on Scream 1, 2, and 3 while you're at it. But we touched on how Sidney Prescott was a badass final girl. Jamie, you said you read something about Sidney being like the ultimate final girl. Tell us about
that. You just told them about that. That's what I read.
Okay, good job. I summed that up quite nicely then.
They were just saying, as an actress, she brought so much to the role. She lent a lot of awesome scenes to the movies, and when times seemed bad, she was just a badass. All this bad shit's happened to her. She's survived, and yeah, in Scream 3, she went off the rails and went full on hermit. But when she came back in, she was full on part of it again, and she's just got a lot of good one-liners. She's clearly very good at killing people by the end.
She is good at killing people. She's killed almost as many people as the killers themselves by the end of it. She's racked up quite a body count herself. What did you think of
her? She's actually racked up a bigger body count than the killers in the original movie.
Has she? I never put that together. She didn't kill Roman in episode 3. That was Dewey who killed Roman. With the headshot.
You've still got 2 people per movie.
Charlie was killed.
Oh no, you don't. By Jill. She's murdered 1 person per movie apart from 3. So okay, she's only at 3.
She killed Stu and she killed Billy.
So it's Stu and Billy.
Did she kill Billy? I can't remember. Who shot Billy? Billy got back up for one last scare.
No, she killed Billy, but Billy killed Stu.
No,
he stabbed him and he died.
She pulled the TV on Stu's face.
Oh, she did. She finished them off, didn't she? Yeah.
Electrocuted them, yeah.
So 2, she then shot Mickey, but so did Gail. They shot the shit out of Mickey when he jumped back up.
Cover that one then.
Yeah. And it was Cotton who killed Mrs. Loomis. She's got 3. And then she killed Jill. So she's got 4.
Yeah. But she's also seen a lot of kills. I mean, we don't have to reel them off, but she's
she's seen a lot.
Most of the kills.
So and she's just a great, as I say, she's been very consistent. I don't think, even though the movie quality between the movies varies, I don't think her quality throughout varies at all. I think she's been great.
Yeah, Neve Campbell is consistently good in these films. Even in we certainly all agreed was the weakest film by far, and Scream 3.
I think the general public on large also agree that it's the weakest film.
Neve Campbell was still phenomenal in that role. She embodied Sidney Prescott, and I mean, put Sidney Prescott on screen, I'll watch it. I will watch Sidney Prescott. I'll go to these movies to see her doing, making peanut butter and jam sandwiches. I'll watch that until someone jumps out at her. She's good in this film, in all these films.
I will say, having just sort of thought back and contemplated on it, I think Gail's character development's the most interesting.
Okay, let's discuss Gail Weathers then, played by Courtney Cox. Let's hear your thoughts on this, Jamie.
At the start, she was trying to make her bones as a journalist, cutthroat.
Just total douche.
Yeah, absolutely. She totally hated her. She wrote, a book in the first one, and obviously
Woodsboro Murders.
Yeah, and obviously Sidney was not happy about the book about. She wasn't happy, right?
The Woodsboro Murders was her second book. Her first book, I do not remember the name of it, was saying that Cotton wasn't guilty, which was correct. The Woodsboro Murders was then her second book, based off the killings in the first film, based on Billy and Stu.
Yeah, but she was still very, all about her career, trying to get that story and fuck whoever gets in her way, because she's going to get that scoop and be a badass journalist. And
so satisfying when she got punched in the face in the first movie.
I'm sure I mentioned that. She got punched in the face. That was great. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how I said it as well. It's like, that was great.
And then she takes a backhander in the second movie as well. Sidney whacks her in that one too.
I don't know how I got to the point, in the fourth movie where I'm like, please don't let her die. I actually really like her, because she'd changed.
She had. I think a big part of that is if you watching the movies in the first film, she's been flirting with Dewey and everything else, and she finds out Dewey's alive, and Dewey gets put in the ambulance, and she turns and does her story. The second film, she finds out Dewey's alive, and she hands away the microphone and gets in the ambulance with him.
Yeah, I think that might have been the point where I actually started liking her.
Yeah, that was a big turning point for her character, where she clearly thought, put something
cared about
else.
Something instead of her career.
Yes. And then the third movie, they kind of undone some of that character development and went back a few steps, because they decided that in between films, her and Dewey had split up and whatever.
Yeah. And all of film 3 was just get it over with and bone,
Yeah.
What is this? A whole movie of them just going, will they, won't they? Well, we know they will.
We did. We did. And then the end of the third film, they got engaged. And the fourth film, Gail is now no longer a journalist. She is attempting to write fiction, has writer's block, and then these killings start again, and she's like, I'm solving me some of that shit and writing another book.
Back in the game.
Yeah. She's good. She's good at what she does. She's good at it. And I think she's a very interesting character. And she's, in the third one, giving her talk on it. And is it the third one? Fourth one? And we mentioned it says, media is the new politics. And
the fourth one, yeah.
It's the fourth one. And she's this figure, public figure, and she's good at what she does, and she misses it, and she needs it. But
if I'm honest, I like my favorite Gail Weathers is the one who's a total self-absorbed prick at the start.
Yeah.
I really like her like that. I mean, yeah, like I get what Jamie is saying, that she becomes a lot more likable, but I like the character she was at the beginning, who's like just totally out for herself, doesn't care that her cameraman's just been murdered, still going to go and get my story. All right, I'll just replace you with another cameraman.
In the second one, she was so mean to her new cameraman. I mean, she was mean to the first one, but I think she was even meaner to the second one. And this guy's like,
in the first one, Kenny, doesn't show up with the camera on time. She's Kenny. I know you're a couple of pounds overweight, but please interpret when I say now it means move your fat top of Lord ass.
I'm pretty sure she said 50 pounds. You're about 50 pounds overweight. But she was even meaner to the other guy.
Who got the fuck out of there. And they make fun of that in Scary Movie. They actually make fun of his character in the second one because he was very much like, killings are happening. I don't want to be here. Which makes sense. He's like,
only sensible person in the entire
he's
series of movies.
Yeah, he's like, I'm putting my life above us getting this story. Let's get out of here. And they make fun of that in Scary Movie with the black camera crew, and it's like white folks died, so we getting the fuck out of here. And they all jump in the van and take off. He was sensible. So the other main character then, since we've discussed Sidney and Gail, is Dewey. He's the only other character to appear in all 4 movies. What do you think of Dewey and his character progression? Let's hear from you on this one, Al.
I don't know how much he actually progresses, because I know he gets his status changes. He's no longer the sort of goofy deputy, and he's no longer the sort of sad loner, and he's married by the end of it. But actually, in a person, he's pretty much the same person from the beginning to the end, I'd say, because he's still pretty incompetent, and like he's basically the likable idiot the whole way through. I wouldn't say that he changes a huge amount.
He is. Like, I don't think he's particularly incompetent. He just comes across.
He never solves anything. His wife solves everything the whole way through. He only ever comes across something. It's like he stumbles across things, or is taken there by somebody else. Usually Gail walks him up and tells him what's actually happening. Like, he never actually figures anything out by himself.
I mean,
it's always somebody else shows him. I
don't disagree with any of that. But the guy can take a stabbing like a champ. I mean, let's be honest. That guy's been stabbed in the back twice. The second time in the second movie was particularly brutal. Loads of blood. They even make fun of it in Scream 3 with the guy saying, every time this guy walks into a room, he ends up a shish kebab. It's Dewey gets stabbed and keeps surviving. I mean, he is a survivor.
In Scream 2, in the scene you were talking about, I was like, oh, well, he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing that initially.
I was very surprised when he survived that one.
Yes, to the point where it was almost a cop-out. Like,
yeah,
he's done the same thing in the first one. And I know for a fact Dewey was actually supposed to die in the original Scream. When he was stabbed in the back, that was it. He was supposed to be dead. He came out the house and he fell over with a knife in his back.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be it. But apparently test audiences really like them, so they decided to add that scene at the end where he's, not dead, getting put in the ambulance.
Because it does feel kind of tagged on that little bit.
Yeah,
it feels just a little bit disjointed to the rest, because they've, like you say, they've properly set it up as he's dead.
Yeah, and I mean it's okay. I like Dewey, so I'm glad he survived. But I wonder what the
I like Dewey too,
and
I know I'm being quite hard on him, but I'm just because you specifically asked about his progression. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. And you already said he is likable. Like,
totally.
But you're right. He doesn't really progress too much as a character. other than going from the doofy deputy, the goofy deputy
That's
to the
scary.
goofy,
I think
to the
it's pretty
goofy
much
sheriff.
the same. I think it's pretty much the same in each movie, except he's just got a little bit wiser with age. You know, it's not that he's like learned very much. It's just that after 10 years, you know, you do pick up some stuff, even if you're not the smartest, you know?
Yeah.
So I reckon that's the experience. You know, small town sheriff, I'm pretty sure the more durable you are, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's
Especially
been
at a time with such a
so
high
many
murder
times.
rate.
Yeah, and you know, he was nearby people that solved the murders, so he's our guy.
Yeah, he's bound to have taken something in through osmosis alone, just by sheer chance, you know, just from being there, he's got to have absorbed something.
Absolutely. So
Learning via osmosis.
But, okay, so that's us discussed the three main characters. So let's discuss ghost faces. Actually, no, we will discuss ghost faces. But first, Jamie, you mentioned something in one of the previous episodes, saying that after watching, it was the episode for Scream 3, you said after watching Scream 3, you changed your ratings for Scream and Scream 2. So let's all give our ratings again. So myself, for Scream, I gave it 4.5 stabs out of 5. For Scream 2, I gave it 4 stabs out of 5. For Scream 3, I gave 2.5. And for Scream 4, I gave 4. So Al, what were yours? We'll save Jamie till last, seeing as he's the one who's changing shit.
Well, I wish you told me so I could have thought about what my ratings were.
I can give mine while I'm thinking.
I was 4.5 for the first one. I'm sure I was 3.5 for the second one, and then 2.5 for the third and 4 for the fourth.
I think,
and I stand by mine.
Yeah, for 2, you were the same as me. You picked 3 stars. I'm pretty sure. I only want to change my rating.
3, right? Yeah.
I only want to change my rating for the second one. I want to give that 4 stabs, and the other ones stay the same. 5 stabs for Scream 1, and then what did I give Scream 3? 2 stabs, and then 4 for Scream 4. So I only really wanted to change Scream 2. I still think Scream 1, out of the 7 or 8 horror movies I've watched now, it's still by far the best. And until I see a movie that I think is better than Scream, the first one, it's staying at 5 stars.
I would say this, Scream is certainly one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and the franchise is one of my favorite horror franchises of all time. In fact, not just horror franchises, franchises in general. Horror is my favorite genre. That makes, them some of my favorite. I've got the Blu-rays here, worth every penny for them. It's
nice.
Cannot wait on the next one. But anyway, yeah. So back to Ghost Faces.
What's your franchise score? Or we're going to save that for the end.
My franchise score? How do you mean? Like, how many stabs?
An overall rating.
Yeah, an overall rating for the entire franchise. If you had to give it compared to, I can't do this because I don't know any other franchises.
I would give the franchise as a whole 4 stabs. Because we have, it would be higher probably, but Scream 3 brings it down slightly. But yeah, I'd give it a 4 as a whole, which I think is still.
I would
good.
agree with that. I think that's really fair, because, like you say, you've got 2 really good films, 1 pretty good film, and 1 that kind of lets the pack down.
I think it's I gave 2 and 4 both 4 stabs. I think 2 and 4 are both excellent, but 1 is so good. But yeah, anyway. So right, Ghost Faces. Let's discuss. So in Scream, we have Billy and Stu, whose motives are, Billy's motive Sidney's mum was sleeping with his dad and made his mum leave. He did not take kindly to this, so he killed Sidney's mum, Maureen. This he seemed to be shocked that this made Sidney not want to have sex. So with blue balls, he decided to go on another killing spree, and Stu was along for the ride for the whole thing.
Potentially because he's in love with him.
Potentially, yeah, and potentially because of peer pressure, like Stu claimed. We really don't know, other than maybe it was because Stu was bored. We really don't know, and that's one of the things I really like about Stu. Billy's motives are very clear. Stu, who really knows? You know, it could be, but Stu was played so well by Matthew Lillard. Incredible performance by him. In the actual script, his character was apparently quite flat, and you know, you could not tell that from Matthew Lillard's performance. He was so animated. He was fantastic. So good. Yeah. I'll be right back will forever be a legendary line because of him. You know,
I'll be right back.
Scream 2, we have Billy's mum, Debbie Loomis. Yeah, Debbie Loomis, and we have Mickey. Debbie Loomis wants revenge for the death of her son, who she blames Sidney for. And Mickey is just a psychopath serial killer who Debbie brought in. A psychopath
you found on the internet.
Yes. And he's fantastic. He wants to get caught and go to court and blame the movies. Because he's mental. Scream 3, we have Roman, who, as it happens, is Sidney's half-brother, who approached Maureen years ago, and Maureen was like...
I love the giggle.
So Roman then told Billy about the affair and, you know, took credit for that later on, claiming he killed Maureen. He did no such thing. He's a director. And finally, we have Jill and Charlie. Jill is Sidney's cousin who is jealous of the fame and wants it for herself and wants to be the sole survivor. And Charlie just wants to get laid. And goes along.
He might already have been getting laid. That's why he went along with it.
Who knows? So, who was your favorite of all the ghost faces, Jamie?
Right, so my favorite is the one in the fourth movie, the girl, and my least favorite, Jill, and my least favorite is the bloke for the third movie, Roman. So it's just a case of slotting the other ones in on the spectrum. That's the best and worst, I think.
Okay, well, we're only after best and worst. What about you, Al? Who's your best and worst?
Absolutely agree with Jamie. Jill is the best. Or well, the combination of Jill and I can't remember what his name is. Charlie. The combination of them, because you still don't 100% know which kills are attributed to who. So they only confirm that he did the kill outside of his best friend.
The only person with 100% certainty we can attribute all their kills is Roman, because he was the only killer in that movie. Yeah. So my opinion is he's the worst as well. Yeah.
So did he have the most
Roman has the highest kill count out of any of the ghost faces.
It's a shame that movie has
now, there are more kills in Scream 4. However, because the kills are split between Jill and Charlie, we can assume that they didn't, that none of them beat Roman's kill count.
Because Roman was 9, wasn't he?
Roman was 9, yeah. There were 10 deaths in that film. Roman killed 9 of them, and then the 10th death was his. The only other one that was close was Mickey in Scream 2, who in our Scream 2 episode, if you haven't watched it, go check it out. I suggested a theory that he actually killed everyone except Randy, which I still stand by. I think it's a pretty solid. I think the reasoning behind that was pretty solid, just for his size and strength in comparison to Debbie Loomis's for the most part. And
Debbie was more the organizer rather than the actual killer in that.
Exactly.
she wound him up and just set him off.
Yes,
and then it was he was there to do the killing. She was just sort of the puppet master behind the scenes.
Now we know she killed Randy because she specifically took credit for that, but it seems like other than that, she tried to kill Dewey, but Dewey survived, and she took Gil hostage, who showed up at the end. So that seems like her part, and Mickey done the rest. So Mickey would have potentially have the second highest kill count out of all of them. And Mickey may actually be my favorite of the ghost faces. Because one, I like how many people he killed. Two, I like that he's the kills are much more graphic than they are in Scream 3, although not as graphic as Scream 4, I have to say. But I like how crazy he was. I think Timothy Oliphant's performance as him was very good at the end. When they really cranked it up. I like that he was tormenting Sidney. Sidney's boyfriend was there tied up, and he's like, "Don't untie him. He's my partner." And he's fucking with Sid. There's absolutely no need for him to fuck with her. He's going to kill them both. There's no need, but he's toying with her anyway. And I really like that. I think he played the psychopath really well. I think Timothy Oliphant's a very good actor, and I think he was great in that role. But Jill's fantastic. I totally understand why you would say Jill. I think she's the best Ghostface reveal, undeniably. I think she was the most surprising out of all of them.
I just like the combination of the two of them in that, because I think they're the least campy and the least kind of comical Ghostface. They're really intense. Like a couple of the phone calls that we talked about in the earlier episodes, like it's not quite so teasing and stuff like that, because they properly lose their shit at a few points, and there's some really quite graphic threats, and then the kills, they're not falling around all over the place. The kills they're efficient and brutal.
These are kids that definitely grew up with like a lot of internet, because they were fucked up, and they knew all the lines and all this crap, and that was definitely
Stop blaming the internet. It's not always the internet's fault.
It's the internet's fault.
It's like Billy said in Scream. Scary movies don't make serial killers. Scary movies make serial killers more creative. I would agree with you that Roman was the worst. So what would you like to see, Al, from Scream 5 next year?
I would like to see them continue along the same sort of veins as 1 and 4. Just keep it. I like the intensity where they keep it to being like a horror movie. In the pitch where they go too lighthearted, like in 3 when they're going too comedy based. I think it's a slash movie. There's meant to be jumps, there's meant to be fright, and the kills should be gory and stuff like that. And I really like it when the phone calls are properly sinister and creepy. Like the initial scene in 1 we've talked about. It's one of the best horror scenes there is. That first scene in 1 it's so fucking creepy.
Yeah,
I think the start of 4,
Drew Barrymore in that is arguably the best performance in all of horror.
Yeah, and then again the start of 4 when he says he's going to cut her neck down to the bone, just because he's being kind of jokey with her, and then she gives him some cheek and he just snaps, and or they snap, and I really like it where it's there's real threat there rather than just being really jokey and mucking around with voice changers that can be anybody to make them go anywhere in the world they want.
What about you, Jamie? What would you like to see out of Scream 5?
I've got no idea, man. I just want it to be good.
Just want it to be good. Okay.
I just want it to be good. I don't want another Scream 3. I wonder, like, it's only been 10. If it was 20 years, we could have had like Sidney Prescott's kid grown up, like going to high school in Burroughs or whatever. No, what's the town called again?
Woodsboro.
Yeah. I don't think enough time has passed to age Neve Campbell for 20 years, but
No, I think she's actually aged really well.
I can't see where they would go with it. If it's just another like, oh, we're gonna get you because you're Sidney Prescott. I mean, 4 movies of that is enough. I was watching it and I was like, come on, can we get a new, like, leave her alone?
Just leave her alone.
I don't know if it's because I just, we watched them pretty close together, and I just thought, I'm like, just leave this woman alone, man. She's not enough.
Well, I'm somewhat skeptical of Scream 5 because there's no Wes Craven to direct it. Wes Craven is a horror legend. He's a phenomenal director. And this will be the first Scream film without him at the helm. But as they are bringing it back, and a
different writer as well.
Yeah. I'm hoping that the different writer, for starters, could be a very bad sign, because we had the different writer for Scream 3. I don't want another bad Scream film taking this down from a 4. The franchise is a 4. I want it to stay at a 4 or improve. I don't want it going down to a 3.5. But I hope they have the balls to kill one of the original 3. I would.
And they're all definitely got to be in it.
I don't know. I've not checked the cast. I don't want to look too much because I don't want any spoilers. They are okay.
Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette are all returning.
I would love them to kill one of them.
Should kill them all in the first scene.
that would be
that would be a properly ballsy start.
Remember the intro to Scream 1?
Yeah. So if anyone is watching and wondering why we have not discussed the Scream TV series that is on Netflix, the answer is pretty simple: because it's shit and it is not connected to the movies any way, shape, or form. None of the cast are in it. I'm not even sure it's mentioned. I watched series 1 of it, and it is not worth us doing an episode on. So,
what they should have done?
Not.
They should have called it Stab and made that, because then if it was bad, it wouldn't have mattered.
Well, I mean, they don't even use proper Ghostface or anything. I think the series itself, and this is as close to a review as I'm going to give of it. So I think the series itself would even be good if it wasn't called Scream. If it didn't intentionally attach itself to these movies, it would probably be worth watching just as a random slasher TV show.
I've not watched any of this. Does it not have Ghostface in it?
No.
Then it shouldn't be called Scream. I agree.
Scream then. Yeah.
I mean, there's a villain in a mask, and the mask is kind of pale, but it's not the same mask. It's not the same, and they still have the whodunit element, but it's not Scream. And the mistake it makes is calling itself Scream, and that's it. Yeah. Other than that, it's fine. If you're not comparing it to Scream. So
if Ghostface isn't in it, it's not Scream.
Yeah,
that's I mean, that's the one part that goes through.
And we can't stop that. If Ghostface is in it, it is Scream, because then Scary Movie is Scream. And then we'll go fucking, whoa.
I know, shit's getting too meta now, so it's probably... So, right, is there anything else you want to add about the Scream franchise before we don't talk about Scream for a year?
What's everyone's favourite kill from all of the films?
Oh, Jesus.
Drew Barrymore in the original, the opening kill, the opening between Steve and her. There's Casey, and they find her, gutted, hanging from her swing. That is, I think, is the best kill in the entire franchise, and it's the second kill in the entire thing.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very close run thing between that and in Scream 4, the neighbor getting killed,
Olivia,
because of. But I think the kill in the first one with Drew Barrymore, but because it's so emotive with the way that she gets hurt and she's crawling towards, she's nearly got help. There's people
she tries to scream for her parents but can't. That's
And then they go into the house, and then he's back on top of her again, and it's really up close and personal.
It gets
And I
you.
think it's that's definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
We have praised that scene so many times.
It's a praiseworthy scene. It deserves praise, you know. It genuinely
I'm just
does.
going to mention one other scene that's not my favorite, but I do love the incredible Hulk-like power in Scream 2, where he picks up the girl and just chucks her off the fucking balcony, like fucking John Cena style.
That girl was Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's 5'4" and weighs 10 stones soaking wet. No way she even weighs anything close to that. You could curl her with one arm. But
yeah, but you're telling me Mickey was a fucking weedy ass fuck.
Mickey was athletic, and if you badmouth, this is my motivation for putting on the mask.
You can hardly even overhead press his own t-shirt off his fucking.
Okay, yeah. But that's it for us from the Scream franchise until Scream 5 is released next year. We hope you have enjoyed these videos. If you haven't watched any of them, go back, check them out, and let us know in the comment section, what was your favorite Scream? Who was your favorite Ghostface? Let us know, were you scared shitless? If you're after some Harry Potter content from Jamie, you can find that over on his channel at Potter Nerd, link in the description. Join us next week, where we will be discussing Brightburn, the Superman-esque horror movie. And like any good horror villain, we will be back for one last scare.